Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad to have you here with us. So, for the last several broadcasts, I've been discussing how we develop our own belief system, and it was based off of the fact that prior to that, I shared with how important it is to have a belief system and forgot a key ingredient. So a question came in, which I'm going to read to you real quick. Here's the question. It said, "You told us it was important to have guiding principles, but you never explained what it means to think through our beliefs or how to come up with our own beliefs. What is that process?" And so over the last several days, we've been unboxing that process. So before I really jump into it, let me give you the 5 steps. Today, I'm going to actually elaborate on the last 2, but let me just give you all 5 of the steps so you can have it on the front end. Number 1, identify. That's right. Identify significant relationships that you are a part of. Number 2, clarify. Write out the type of person that you'd like to be in each of these relationships. So once you've identified the type of relationships that you like to be a part of, then that you are a part of, then clarify the type of person you'd like to be in these relationships. And then we talked about yesterday rather, question. And that is, ask if there is something you actually believe you want to be. Ask if this, whatever it is, when you said, I want to be this type of person in the relationships, then ask yourself that question. Is this who I really want to be in those relationships? Is this who I really want to be? And then tonight we're going to talk about the last 2, reconcile and modify. So stick around as we unbox how to come up with your own set of beliefs. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach. And welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right. Thank you. Come on in. Please, before we get started, do me a favor. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. That's right. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you're listening to the podcast, please check out our website. It's www.swg-unboxed.org. That's right. swg-unboxed.org. It is SWG stands for Seasoned with Grace Unboxed. All right. So let's get back into this thing and let's get started. So we looked at three of the areas of how we develop our own set of guiding principles. We identify the significant relationships that we're in, because your guiding principles are played out in relationships. So what are the relationships that you are a part of? Then the second thing we talked about was to clarify. We said, write out the type of person you'd like to be in each of these relationships. And then we said to question yourself, which is to ask if this is something you actually believe you want to be. So you said, this is who I think I want to be. Well, ask yourself, is that who you really want to be? And then number 4 is reconcile. And when we say reconcile, what we mean by that is ask yourself, where is the incongruence? Where's the incongruence between what you say and what you're actually living? So you know the relationships that you're a part of, you know the type of person that you like to be. You've really dug deep into it to figure out if that is actually who you like to be. And then I want you to reconcile it, because oftentimes with our mouth, we say we want to be one type of person, and then with our actions, we say we want to be something else. If you want to talk about guiding principles and incongruency, you have to read Frederick Douglass's autobiography and the appendix that he wrote in the back. Because as he wrote the book, the first book he wrote about his life experiences in 1845, he really was hard on the slave masters who claimed to be Christians, especially the ones who claimed to be ministers, just how cruel they were. So he came back and said, you know what? I recognize that some of the things I said may give the impression that I do not believe in Christianity. He says, but let me explain to you. There are so many, my words, not his, so many discrepancies, so many hypocrisies between what America as a Christian country says it believes and what America actually lives in the way that it treats, especially its slave population, the blacks in this country. And so I want you to do kind of what Frederick Douglass, the great revolutionary Frederick Douglass, did. which is I want you, and I use revolutionary instead of abolitionist. I want you to catch that. I want you to do what the great revolutionary did and look and see where is the incongruence between what you say you want to be and what you actually are living right now. And you know what? That's okay. What I mean by that is I don't want you to be too hard on yourself, but also don't play games with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself and just beat yourself up and say, oh man, I'm an utter failure. I'll never make it. I can't never be this type of person. But by the same token, don't glorify yourself and say, oh, I got this thing down pat. Try to be as realistic as possible and think through, this is the type of person that I want to be. And I'll give you a classic example. One of the things that I truly want to be, especially with my family, is more patient. And I'm not going to go through my whole belief statement around patience. I've shared some of that with you in previous broadcasts. You can go back and check them out. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you can see all of the things and hit the alert button so you can know when new content is coming out. But where that area of patience was tried is over the last several months, and just within the last 2 days, as I'm trying to teach my sons. Over the last several months, I've been teaching my son to drive. He has to get 50 driving hours, just got his driver's license. And boy, driving with a 16-year-old would try your patience. But also, I'm now teaching him how to drive a stick. So I taught him how to drive to get his driver's license on an automatic. But now I'm going to give him my Toyota RAV4, which is a stick. And I'm teaching him how to drive a stick shift. And man, you talk about trying and testing your patience. All of that belief stuff that I said, I put patience and listening to your family and being compassionate and blah, 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 blah. Man, when you get in there and your son is not doing what you instructed him to do to get into first gear, you realize how impatient you actually are. And that's okay, because it helps you to recognize where your area of growth is. And so that's really important to do. Okay, so reconcile. Number 1, identify. Number 2, clarify. Number 3, question. Number 4, reconcile. And number 5, modify. And here's what we mean by modify. What small changes do you need to make to align your beliefs? So you said this is what you want to be. You recognize that there's some incongruence between what you say you want to be and what you actually are. And then now, how are you going to reconcile that two? So you know what I did today? My son has a driver's license. Took him driving yesterday. I said, you know what? I recognize that it's not beneficial to him when I'm barking and yelling at him in the car. It's not beneficial to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him the key. I'm going to take him to a course. I'm going to tell him just to drive round and around and around until he on his own masters the art of working that clutch, brake, and gas pedal until he gets that thing mastered. Now, that was just a little small step, and boy, was it a small step in the big scheme of things. But it helped to lower my level of anxiety by allowing him to take ownership of his learning to drive a stick. It lowered his anxiety not having dad in there fussing and saying, push the clutch harder. No, get it into gear. No, what? So everybody. These are just little small modifications. Pulling back and letting them take more control is one area that I recognize. And so what I encourage you to do is to figure out, where can I make some modifications in how I am saying I want to be and how I'm actually living. All right, let me go through it very quickly, and then we're going to be done here. Number 1, identify. We talk about how do I develop my own belief system. Number 1, identify the significant relationships you are part of. Number 2, clarify. That is to write out the type of person you'd like to be in each of those relationships. Number 3 is question. Ask yourself if this is something you actually believe you want to be, or is this just something everybody else told you should be? Number 4, reconcile. And that is identify where are the incongruence between what you say and what you are actually living. And last but not least, modify. What small changes do you need to make to modify or to align your beliefs? That is the modify. All right. I'm so glad that you joined us through this process. I've had a wonderful time. I encourage you to check out our website. I encourage you to continue to unbox the power and the potential of your leadership and to unbox the power and the potential of every relationship. I'll see you next time.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.